on a stage, getting behind keyboards, playing the keyboards, singing songs, coming out, teaching people about worship and telling all the stories in the Bible about how we need to worship and here's how we worship. And that was my thing. I knew how to do that, and I was comfortable with that. But God was putting me in these situations. Every place I'd ever been in all these other countries, prior to the nightclub scenario, I got to go to churches. Places surrounded by a lot of Christian people, my comfort zone, using my skill set. And now suddenly we get to China and we meet with this American there who's been overseeing this ministry, sneaking people and Bibles across the border into China. A couple days later, this gentleman who was overseeing this missions operation out of Hong Kong, he said, "All right, you guys ready to get real with this thing?" I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He said, "Well, we're going back across the border and we're going to the underground churches." When we got there, he wasn't happy with me because I was a foot taller than everybody else and I was not dressed, as you will see in a few minutes, in a way that would not draw some attention. It was the 90s and we wore bright colored breeches in the 90s. I don't know what to tell you. They were taking me up and down these alleys trying to sneak me to this one of the biggest underground churches in China. And this guy just kept saying, is that really all the clothes you brought? We were going to an underground church pastored by a man named Dr. Lamb. Lamb was not his name. That was the translated, what it meant translated. Dr. Lamb was the most famous house pastor in China, and he'd been to America 3 times. He had met 3 American presidents. He showed me his ink pen collection. Every time he came, a president gave him a special ink pen, and he was so proud of them. And they took me up and down the alleyways, trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, and we got to this underground church. And it was in a 3-story house, and when we walked in, you could hear a pin drop. Went into the bottom floor, and there were people packed in. There was a staircase lined with people. I could barely get up the staircase to the 2nd floor that was packed full of people. They took me to a 3rd staircase lined with people to the 3rd floor, introduced me to Dr. Lamb, and said, "Here's where you will preach from, the top of the staircase, where your voice will travel down the stairs to the other 2 floors." I was so comfortable with that. It felt so natural to stand there in that situation. Dr. Lamb had had his church services in other locations, raided time and time again. He'd been thrown in jail I don't know how many times. They wanted him to come to America one more time, and the Lord sent a spy into that government situation to come out and let him know they're not going to let you back into China if you leave again, because that's the only way they know how to get rid of you. They can't kill you because you're too high profile. So in case you didn't understand, I was just being facetious. I was very uncomfortable in that situation. I felt very out of place in that situation. I felt very inadequate in that situation. And God taught me, "Son, just look at the fields. Just look at the fields. Just look at the fields." This is a picture that someone took at the end of that service with Dr. Lamb. And as you can see, I stand out in a crowd with these people. Hannah, that could be some of your kinfolk there. I'm not sure. The young ladies all wanted in the picture with Pastor Scott. Look at me. I'm an Adonis. What do you expect? God taught me on that trip to look for opportunities of ministry, not opportunities that I fit into nice and neat And he taught me, said, if you will look at the fields, if you will see the opportunities, and you will grab the opportunities, and you'll trust me that when you're weak, I'm going to be strong. When you don't know what to say, I'll know what to say, and I'll say it through you. He taught me, grab the opportunities. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to fulfill your life with an abundance that you've never known before.